Hello, tea friends. This is Barb Gulley from Barb's Tea Service, and we are back with our podcast, courtesy on TV Studios. And I'm here, as always, with studio engineer, co-host, and arm candy, Chris Gulley.
Well, thank you. I'm locked in, I'm hydrated, and I'm moisturized.
You're raring to go. Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for all that information.
Okay. You're welcome.
So we're here with podcast 64. This is our third of 2026.
Yep.
And today we have a very special guest.
Yay.
Princess Castleberry.
All right. I'm messing up here. That was smooth, wasn't it?
It was. You know, the audience is a little slow today. We're raring to go, but the audience, there's lag time. So, anyway, welcome, Princess.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me.
So, we are so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And we've got, you've had a very interesting career.
Yes.
Keeps going.
To say the least.
The journey continues. And we're going to talk about your business and your recently published book. And it's just a great way to start the new year.
Yep.
So this is what we hope to cover today. We're going to share a favorite tea. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about the journey, risk manager to global speaker, consultant, and author. And your new book, The Truth is the Trigger. And if we have time, we're going to do a little tea etiquette quiz.
Oh.
All right.
We're going to put you on the spot.
All right.
Because that's what we do.
That's right.
I know way more about risk management than I do about tea, but that's okay.
Well, okay.
I'm up for the challenge.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay. But first, tea.
All right. Ooh. Okay.
Okay. So today we're sampling Earl Grey.
Uh-huh.
This is from Twinings. And we chose this because, one, Princess, you said Earl Grey was one of your favorites.
It is. Absolutely.
And Twinings is kind of the original, much like you are, Princess. One of a kind. So, okay, took a little sample. I'm going to catch up with you guys.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. So this is kind of a classic
It is
Earl
a classic.
Grey.
Yep.
Not too much on the citrusy side. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I taste that little hint of bergamot that is so signature to Earl Grey, and I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite tea.
Yeah.
Doesn't require any sugar, no honey, no nothing. I love it. It's exactly how it is, and I'm not much of a coffee drinker. Surprise, surprise. But I do like the extra boost of caffeine that Earl Grey has. They give you that little kick in the morning. So yes, it's my favorite way to start the day.
Nice.
Excellent. I think Earl Grey is a good go-to. It's one of my favorites, and it's reliable, you know.
Yeah.
And people try and tweak it a little bit, but there's nothing like a good old-fashioned Earl Grey.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. So we were talking about. So this is your favorite tea. But we also, when we have a special guest, we ask them to bring in a special mug.
Yes.
Something that might have some significance to them. And what did you bring today?
So I brought this beautiful mug in. It's one of those handcrafted ones. It's not perfect. It's not perfectly shaped, but it's beautiful and it's iridescent and it's pink. But I really love what it says. And it says, "Love you, mean it." And it's one of those where it's less about who gave it to me and more about the message. I love authentic people. And when somebody tells me that they love me, they connect with me, I really need them to mean it because those words are serious. So every time I see this, "Love you, mean it," it just reminds me that there are just an incredible amount of people out in this world that love me for who I am, who connect with me. And every day this just sort of reminds me of that.
Oh, that's excellent. And I think that's like a lot of things. There's platitudes, there's things people will say, and it gets to be run of the mill. And to actually mean it, that's a great message.
Yeah. Like really mean what you say, like have it be true.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I'm just a person that's always been real forthright, as you know.
Yes.
Very forthright, and it's just a hallmark of who I am. So when somebody says I love you and I mean it, I believe that.
Okay.
Excellent. I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing for us to start the day with.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So as you mentioned, I am aware of all your strengths, your wonderful personality, and that's because we worked together for quite a while.
Yes, a long time.
And this was
And you're still speaking.
Yes, we still got jokes.
right. So that was we were both working for at the time a Fortune 500 company. It's not quite up there yet, but when did you start that company?
I started there in 2008.
Oh,
2008. I worked there for 11 years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Half of my risk management career was there at that one company.
Okay. And we have a great mutual friend. We'll say a little hello to Laura Quigley.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And
Quiggles.
and so you started actually before her.
Yeah, she was a boomerang. So she was there before me, and then she had left, and I started, and then she'd come back.
Okay.
So it was really a blessing to have an opportunity to work with her. But I knew her from the industry because we were both from the insurance and risk management industry, and so I knew her from other circles. But it was great to have an opportunity to work with her, as you have also felt.
Right. She's awesome. I always felt I was in contracts, you were in risk management, and I always felt I was on the border where they had us setting. I was kind of more risk management, and you guys sort of adopted me a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so you were doing risk management before the Fortune 500 company, but you worked in our company for 11 years, and then you made some changes. Major changes.
It actually didn't start off, right away as a big change. I made the decision. I left that company, and for a really short stint in my career, I had an opportunity to take on my very first executive level role. So I became chief administrative officer for a large charter school network. And to say that I was a fish out of water is a gross understatement. That move turned out to be a catalyst for some of the things that I'm doing today. But at the moment that, things did not go as I planned them to go, it felt like a big mistake, right? And I think that people just, have those experiences in life. If you live long enough, you're gonna make some decisions that you wish you could, have a redo. But I don't believe in looking backwards. So again, leaving the place where we were together, that was a huge risk for me because I had a great career. Some people, when they talk about working for really large companies, Fortune 500 companies or Fortune 500 adjacent, as we were, they talk about all of these challenges, but I loved it. I loved the leadership. I loved my colleagues, the clients that we were serving. And I don't think anything would have pulled me out of that role except the promise of an executive level position, because that's what I was really striving for throughout my career. But sometimes, when you get that thing that you think you're climbing and striving for, it ends up not being that at all. And then you find out something else in your life was really missing in the first place. And so when I had the opportunity to free myself from that role, I took a step back for 30 days, and I literally didn't do anything but rest. I completely rested, and it was a tough situation to rest in because I didn't have another job, and I had two small children at the time, and I was between marriages. Hello, and I had some decisions to make, but I decided to really bet on myself. And initially, when I started my business, I started it as a risk management consultancy, as a fractional risk management consultancy, meaning that I would continue to do the same work I had done for all those years in corporate, but that I would do them independently. And I tried that. And then probably 3-4 months into me launching this brand new organization, the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was COVID.
Yeah.
But, I'll tell you something that's really interesting. My risk management skills and the fact that I had led business continuity and disaster response planning for a major corporation really kicked in and made me very popular
Yeah.
as somebody that companies wanted to talk to and expertise that people wanted to tap into. So the pandemic actually boosted my, new and fledgling business.
Okay.
But then I had some more, critical decisions to make because my sons were first and third grade at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be a risk manager all of a sudden because I didn't know what was going to happen in the world.
Right.
And I wanted to focus the time and energy I had on them. So the start to my business was really unsure at first. It was really rocky. But, I pivoted. I experimented a lot in the background. And one of those big experiments into a speaking career really paid off.
Yeah.
So I think there's something that you said, and I think the term pause, we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's a little overused, but I think it's one of those things that is so important because I'll just say from personal experience, when you were when you had your buyout
Right.
from a Fortune 500 company,
Yeah.
immediately you
Yeah.
went found another.
There was no break. I just went into my next thing because you're kind of trained
Yeah.
to do that.
Keep working.
And it's like you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And
And you regretted that.
I did. I remember they give you transition services and that sort of thing, and I'm you get a mentor, and I said I'm stopping work here, and Monday I'm starting a new place, and she was like, Chris. Think about
Slow
this.
down. Slow down,
And it's
Chris.
like, and I'm not that guy. I said, no, I'm going to lose it if I don't pull a trigger. It's that fear, and so
That's exactly what it is.
yeah, and because it's like I don't know what else to do, and so
So taking that extra time,
Yeah.
even though it's
Yeah.
maybe slightly counterintuitive
Yeah.
or against what we,
Right.
as people who are driven,
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to do.
right,
It was a challenge to take that and to be comfortable in that.
right,
But I needed, after the experience I had and the amount of stress
Yeah.
that the role I was in that executive role for just 8 months.
Yeah.
But the amount of stress that it induced in my life put me into a health crisis.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, when we talk about conditions like burnout,
Yeah.
which is, one of the focus areas of my book, when we talk about conditions like burnout, I believe, especially since the pandemic, we've completely trivialized it because we equate burnout with just being exhausted
Yeah.
or overwhelmed by work. And it is far more serious than that.
It is.
Burnout,
Yeah.
burnout in its truest sense can change the size, structure, and function of the human brain. And I was in an actual burnout crisis.
Yeah.
And I felt it changing me physically
right,
and mentally and emotionally. And I knew the only way to recover from that, it's not vacations or shopping trips as much as we wish it was,
Yeah.
but it's to take physical rest and really come to yourself and really regenerate and recalibrate. So I was very intentional
Yeah.
about taking that rest and thinking very carefully about what my next moves could be.
and that's a hard job.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
It is. And you were alluding to this part where you came to an opportunity
Yeah.
that sort of launched it. Although as with every overnight success, it's not overnight.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about this TED Talk and
Yeah.
what year was that and what did that lead to?
So in 2022, believe it or not, a lot of people don't think that I'm a person that would be camera shy. I'm not selfie camera shy
Yeah.
because I'm that girl
Yeah.
with the selfie. But when it comes to being on video, I was actually really shy about that. And I had never really done YouTube or anything. And I had an opportunity. I had a friend who was like really prodding me that, you should put some of your thoughts on camera and just put it out there. And I was so nervous. And she said, well, what if I do it with you? And I said, well, what would we talk about? And so at the time, we were both rereading a book called The Four Agreements by a Mexican author named Don Miguel Ruiz. And the book is phenomenal. It's like a pocket guide, but it really breaks down this mindset that people develop over time that limits their beliefs and limits even their self-esteem. And so we were so dialed into this book. So she had the brilliant idea that, maybe we just talk about the book. We're both very familiar with it. It's fresh to us. And we recorded this, this talk, and we invited people in, like almost like a webinar.
Okay.
And people loved it, and it took off. Now, at the same time, remember, I'm still trying to build this risk management consulting business, and I was finding the sales process to be really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I know back in the day, I used to make fun of salespeople. Sorry, salespeople. I didn't know how hard your job was.
Right,
And so I had to do
right.
it. And so here I was, but I had another bright idea that if I wasn't great at sales, but I was great at storytelling and at sharing my ideas. And if I could just get myself on a stage and share those ideas with an audience,
Yeah.
whoever wanted to talk to me would come up to me. And so put that all together, we had our video series, just a couple of episodes. We invited people in, and then I said, I want to be on stage. I want to talk about this on stage. I ended up, through another friend of ours, meeting the producers from TEDx Detroit, expressing that interest. And when they gave me a shot to be a part of a small speaker showcase, I didn't have a talk because I wasn't a speaker, but I had that little video series that we had done.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to my friend and said, hey, do you mind if I use this topic that we created and this model we created, but tell it through the lens of my own story for this opportunity I have? And she said, sure, go for it. And so that tiny speaker showcase with like 20 people in the audience, that webinar, if you want to call it that, that a friend sort of forced me to do to get over my nerves of speaking on camera, literally launched into a TEDx talk because the producer heard it and he said he thought it was brilliant. And he said, you're speaking at TEDx Detroit. So I didn't audition or apply the way people traditionally do.
Okay.
I was cast for the show off of that, and it was amazing. And it was a damn good talk.
It
was amazing though, and it just sparked something.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with traditional risk management. Had nothing to do with what I had done for 22 years, but had everything to do with what I was actually experiencing on the inside.
Right. And I watched it several times. It was out of the park, just phenomenal and very engaging. And you go through the whole arc and kind of to the point of your mug, you mean it.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk the walk, you talk the talk.
That's right.
And so this really was I would say a pivotal moment, but you also said that wasn't that next day you weren't just like signing agreements.
No, I was breaking bad agreements, but I was not signing any major speaking deals or anything like that. And I just want to demystify that for people. They think that you're going to do TEDx and then the next day agents are going to be calling you, booking you for stages around the world. And that's not how it works, because speakers have to build a company, have to build a brand, just like any other, what starts off as a small business. So I was already a small business owner, but now I was in a little bit of a business crisis. Am I going to continue to brand myself as a fractional risk manager, or am I a speaker now?
Yeah.
What kind of speaker? And who's my new audience? Because the buyers are different. The audience is different. My positioning in the market. As much as I'm fascinated by risk management, to say bringing forth a risk manager to the stage, audiences don't think that's so sexy. And so and so I had to think about how was I going to continue to talk about and teach the things that I love through risk, but with a completely different lens that connects with a broader audience. And that took a lot of time to build.
Well, I'm just curious, what was the timeline? I mean, is it weeks, months?
A couple of years.
Okay, yeah,
It took about 2 years. And then even in that period, I had to decide, once I started to see that, speaking is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the U.S. alone.
Yeah.
The global business events industry is, worldwide.
Yeah.
Huge industry with a lot of opportunity. And so I knew right away that I was going into this new arena and I needed to focus. So the hardest decision I had to make was to really buckle down and say, I'm going to do this full time.
Yeah.
And then I had to jettison some of my high paying risk management clients That was hard to explain at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you
You
know,
want to do what?
try to explain that you're going to
Yeah.
sunset a couple of six-figure contracts in this new business you started. I was blessed to have a couple of six-figure contracts,
Mhm.
and but I was like, I'm really onto something, and it's like pulling at my heart for the first time in a
Right.
long time. And I started to transition away from some of my more traditional clients into the world of speaking full time, and I made that full transition really at the start of 2024. So
Okay.
it's
Yep.
been 2 solid years full time.
So now I want to talk about your book, because is this something that you had been thinking about as you were doing this, or was this, how did this come about?
Yeah,
And what is the name of the book?
yeah. So the name of the book is "The Truth Is in the Trigger."
You want to show that to the
The
Yes.
camera, there it is. There you go.
Decode the triggers driving your stress and burnout.
All right.
So the truth is in the trigger, and of course, everything in my life relates to risk management. So in risk and losses, every time there's a loss of some sort, the first thing they ask is, "What's the trigger?"
Yeah.
Right? Because they want to make sure that the trigger and the cause is something that's covered by the policy, so that even the language of it comes from my risk management experience. And
Mhm.
so, what I realized though is that leaders have incredible education. They have great intentions on how they want to lead people, how they want to lead companies going forward. But when we get into a state where we are triggered by stress, anxiety, and the precursors to burnout, it changes our behavior. And we show up very differently, we behave differently, and we leave different things behind than we intended. And so this book was written because I have seen so many brilliant leaders under stress, the stress that comes along with life and business,
Oh, yes.
and is unavoidable and
Right.
inevitable. But I've seen them literally shift their behavior night and day different. And you don't get the outcomes that you strategize for when you do that. And as the professional problem solver I am, I started to write this book. And I think we all have a book in us, right?
Yeah.
So this book is a mix of personal stories, of business experiences, things I've experienced out in the community. And it introduces this concept of triggers, not as this far out psychological term that explains our behavior change, but as something that's much more grounded in how you were raised, what you've experienced in your life, what you experience globally out in the world that you can't control, and what we experience in our professional environments.
Yeah.
All these experiences conspire together to create your unique arc as a leader and your behavior. And my goal is to help people manage their stress and be far more intentional than we are behaving these days.
Okay, so the triggers,
Mhm.
you said, initially this comes up from risk management and are we covered?
Right.
But it's also, you want to recognize this.
You want
and-
to recognize the patterns of your own behavior.
Yeah.
And your triggers are what shape your behavior.
Mhm.
They're the catalyst for all behaviors.
So once you recognize that, and hopefully is this where you go? Okay, so do you outline what you do once you recognize it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I took the traditional risk management framework and I modified it for this project. So in risk management, the first thing that you have to do is identify your risks. Second thing you have to do is assess them. You have to know, first off, what's the likelihood that this is going to occur?
Yeah.
And if it occurs, what's going to happen next? What's the severity of it? So you're constantly assessing what my risks are and how is this going to impact me and other people.
Mhm.
So identify, assess. And once you've done that assessment, you have to build a solution. You have to either decide, I'm going to let this risk persist in my life.
Yep.
And in this case, we're talking about stress and burnout.
Yep.
So those are risks that nobody wants to persist. So now we do the third step, which is to build solutions. So we've identified, assessed, and we start to build solutions around how are we going to manage going forward? How are we going to change this course of action? And the last piece is that we have to learn.
Mhm.
Now, I represent this with an open-ended triangle because identify, assess, and build are pretty firm and solid. Those are specific decisions that you make.
Mhm.
But the learn piece is the open-ended part of the triangle because we don't always learn from experience,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But that's what to establish control and stability in risk management, you have to learn.
Yeah.
And so that's the optional piece when it comes to leadership and behavior. So again, I've taken what could be perceived as a boring risk management philosophy, but applied it to our real lives and how we show up for ourselves and each other.
Right.
It's incredible.
Okay, it's great because it's for leadership, but also individuals can
Absolutely.
get a lot from this. I know where we worked, we experienced a lot of stress and a lot of
Understatement. She's being really nice.
Yeah.
there was a lot of mixed messages, and sometimes we were told to take a break and there just wasn't time. And so to be able to get to the higher level and have that embraced. Oh, my time clock it's talking to me. But I think these are all really valuable, and it's very important to say that all these things that have happened in your life, as with all of our lives, you can take it and go, this is what I've learned from it. This is how we can move. But sometimes we just need a little help.
Yeah, you just need a little decoding.
Yeah.
And that's what the book is about. The book makes it very simple. And, even though it is very much a part of the self-help leadership category, it's not meant to diagnose you, to put you in a box, to categorize you, or to diagnose you in any way.
Right.
What it's meant to do is give you a very common language to talk about feelings that all people have, talk about experiences that we all have, because we all have an upbringing that has shaped us personally. We all have the intersectionality of the isms and the phobias of society. And we all have, if we're working and we're in a professional environment, we've all had bouts of conflict, of communication or miscommunication, of friction in the workplace, of incivility in some cases. We've had these experiences. Then what we have to come to bear with is how those experiences intersect and come together and shape our behavior today.
Yeah.
Because that is the teller, the precursor to how we will behave, not only in the present, but in the future, whether we will be intentional or be triggered and let those triggers lead us down a path of unintentional behaviors and therefore unintended consequence.
Okay.
I can't afford it. I got to be on point. So I need to be not in control of everything, but I need to be conscious and aware of what is guiding my behavior.
Excellent. So where can people get the book?
The book is best purchased at my website, princesscastleberry.com. Just look for the tab that says My Book. And that's the best place to purchase it. It is also available on some of the traditional platforms, like Amazon, if you want to wait a little longer.
Okay. So we will list all that information in the comment section. And I'm going to just throw out to wrap up, because we are short on time but this has just been so great. Yeah. But I'm going to give you one tea etiquette question before we leave. And that is, so when we were working together, you were going to Chicago and you're going to go to the Drake with your friends.
Yes.
And you said, could you give me any tips?
Yeah.
Okay. Quick one. Do you remember how you stir anything that you add to your tea?
Anything that you add to your tea.
How do you use the spoon?
You're supposed to stir clockwise, or and don't click the sides.
Bingo.
Don't click the sides.
That's right.
And don't put your pinky up, because that's effective.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, princess.
All right.
All right. To my ears. Okay. We knew the time would go by way too fast. So we hope you'll come back and visit us again. And we'll put all that information for Princess's book.
Yep.
And I have to say thank you to On TV, my co-host, and please stay tuned.
Okay. Very good.